Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Oot Cast. Today we will be doing chapter 60/67 as part of the twinned arcs thing we've got going on now. It is after last week, which was pretty much just a post-mortem. Now we've kind of got this set. There's a lot of setup in this one for the arc to come. Like, there's not a lot of not a huge amount to say. Most of it's lots of small notes and small things and references to past things. The only major events, we'll pause on those, but there's only a couple of them. Stuff with Crow, obviously, and then the ending bit with Rio's introduction, and and basically just more information on the fallout from the previous arc. So, Techno's here with me as ever, and we will now proceed.
Sounds about good.
Anyone?
6-7.
You shut up. I will stab you.
We had to do it once this episode. It's fine.
No click sound effect. Non Mr. Trick there. But yes, here we see Elanath now banishing the bickering goddesses. Jamie being even more fish out of water, but he'd be still there.
Hello, Masaki Hibi.
Well, yeah, we get a little bit more insight into the Hibi gestalt, conglomerate, agglomeration.
I mean,
Yes, and the she being referred to here is OG Hibi, Ashley Hibi, who apparently in some capacity is still around. There she is.
Ashley, I'm also here.
In charge. And she's like, yep, that was her. And then Jamie's like, huh. What? What? But yeah, no, this whole little bit here is basically Jamie working through some of the confusion around Hebe and what her situation actually is at this point with all
Talk
the various
about an
pieces and
audience
parts.
self-insert, am I right?
I mean, she is kind of the audience surrogate here, as she was in the early parts of Oot, in truth. So something of a return to her old. I do appreciate Misaki's Hebe form, though. It's very pretty.
Yes.
But not
Misaki-
without the crow touches there to symbolise her connection to Kieran, and also as the progenitor of Crow, in a sense, as well. There she is, Ash Prime, Evie Prime, Ash Prime, Misaki. Yeah, and this really is all about...
Such a loaded line. I'm just me, Jamie. I always have been. Yeah. That's ignoring everything that happened in the last...
Well, no, because it's true, but it's not the full truth. It doesn't explain
that statement.
Anon
isn't
loves to say
incorrect.
these things are very...
Sure.
Yeah, Anon, this is one of classic Anon's writing points, where he loves to give us these simple...
Because it is. It's just so simple.
Yeah, it is incredibly, conceptually, very simple. Structurally, incredibly complicated.
Yeah.
But yes, Elanath here also helping to underline things that she is essentially wearing Hebe's raiment when Misaki's assuming this role. And it's hard to keep up during this unless you're paying close attention, because Misaki Hebe here goes from... Not just that, but Misaki Hebe goes from referring to Ash Prime Hebe to Ashley, who is OG Hebe, and then back again, and then... Because they're all... And she's right to do so. They're all still her, as this very particularly shows it.
Which, I mean, I feel like this is a pretty well-deserved reward for Misaki after everything that she's been through. She
And it also shows that
experienced unlimited everything on the Hebe arc
in
world.
the Hebe ship. Yeah, and she can live whatever she wanted to do and miss out and experience things that she otherwise missed out on. And Jamie here makes a very good point. Hebe is a prototype for what we might see in the future in terms of what it is like to see a goddess in harmony with oneself. Because none of the god, even Orxo is not in harmony with herself.
Well,
Not
I
really.
mean, even I think it's Elenath that says that Hebe never fell. Like, I think they might.
Yes, and Hebe never
too.
really. She
I'm
got
not sure
close.
said that.
She got close. Yeah, she came close, but she stopped herself at the last minute with the assistance of Ash Prime, and that's why she gave up her mantle, basically, with most of her power and stuff, and gave it to Ash Prime. And then what was her core self reincarnated.
Yeah.
As Ashley. The only question mark there is how, after severing all of her karma, she managed to end up reappearing next to CJ. But I'm guessing that the ring bonds transcend the normal attachments.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if it explained that, but I was always under the impression that the ring bonds and the karma were separate.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but they never ever. They're never talked in tandem, so I never thought that they were.
Yeah, no, but we don't know either way for sure. That's why I'm making this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so James kind of here breaking it down for us, at least as best we can tell at this point.
And
then saying, does it really matter right now? Not particularly, but it does
summary.
Also. Not right now, but maybe soon enough, because we don't, this is going to come down to how the things are going to play out with Leia and...
I don't know. I think it does matter because, the amount of people that get confused whenever they're like, who's talking right now? And,
right.
When people discuss this stuff, I'm like, I think it matters a little bit.
It does. But yeah, Elenath kind of dispelling any remaining doubts around Hebe, if there could be any after the events of recent chapters. Notice that in this chapter, several times the taking of hands being very key gestures as a key gesture of trust. Like, Jamie went into that session, which we can see the end of in this chapter just now, as a being full of doubt, and now she's confident in Elenath. And here we get a little glimpse of what we presume happened in the immediate aftermath of 58. With Elenath reconnecting with Crow and Sarah. Of course, very easy to reconnect with Sarah because, that bond never really shifted. But this is the beginning of this chapter's stuff with Crow, where we finally start facing up to a lot of her mistakes and evils in the past.
I know.
And fair shout to Crow, she owns it.
Well, yeah, she does. It's a little. I mean, we're kind
it's
of.
It's a bit
past,
late.
I was about to say we're kind of.
I'll be honest.
We're kind of.
She probably owned it beforehand. She just wasn't able to be honest about it because she was afraid that it would push them away even more, and she'd lose what little slice she had. So I can understand where she's coming from in that regard. She is a person with her own flaw, like as a full individual in herself anyway. Well, I say individual, but you know what I mean. But yeah, but Crow is at least owning things now. She can't lie in front of Elenath in a even more like focused way. But I think it's more to do with the fact that Elenath is much more willing to emotionally confront things than Jacob/CJ ever has been up to this point. CJ was never confident enough in the emotional side of things to challenge this particular status quo. But this is really important. Right here. He just accepts Crow. She's like, you should hate me. I would expect you to, And he's like, no. Offers his hand in trust, and she reverts back to her original appearance for the rest of this scene. And it really drives home the Elenath's perception and, ethos that no one is beyond redemption. No one. And he just cuts past all of her guilt and shame and self-doubt.
I think it's really easy to play through the chapters one by one and forget that moments like these are coming up, because this was a long time coming. Like
this was a long time coming.
And whenever I played this, I was like, oh, yeah, I guess it is about time that we got around to, especially the stuff later in this chapter. It was about time that we addressed some of this stuff.
This has basically been coming since the end of Leia's arc.
Yeah.
And just give us that was a few years ago now.
Oh, I mean,
yeah. But this is also the two halves of Crow, right and the left-hand parts of Crow now reunited with.
Who wouldn't want two Sarahs?
Right, exactly. Double the Sarah. Oh god. But anyway, Yeah, that was her experiencing one of his memories, which is a symptom of her growing closer. Which, again, in terms of a show, probably a side effect of her accepting Elenath and trusting him in that moment just before it. You know, they took another step closer to each other. And here's Mizzy, and
we get
I will
Mizzy
be upfront
and Jamie in the Skydead realm, or whatever you want to call it. The OG
I would say the OGL realm, yeah, like this is his personal realm. I'm really glad to see Mizue here, and I have a lot to say about a Mizue going forward.
Speak your truth. I'm with you on this one. Let's do it.
Yes, and it might be a little hard to hear for some of us, but I'm going to put it out there. But we're not going to get to it quite yet. We're going to do that when we get to the scene.
Some of you can't handle the truth, but it's okay. We here at Oot Cast are absolutely here to give you the correct factual opinions on how you should be thinking about this game. Worry not.
Don't worry, we'll fix it all for you. And
Mizzy coming out with
speaking truth to power. Look, again, just proving why she is. You know, she deserves what I'm going to talk about going forward. Like she should be. But Red Sarah is indeed fucking hot. Thank you, Mizue. Appreciate that.
Why are you surprised at this point, Jamie? Like, come on.
Jamie really, she talks about how she acknowledges that Mizue is basically her instinctual subconscious, and speaks out loud, but she kind of doesn't seem to accept it either at the same time. She seems to be still pretty hung up on that. Ooh, this is gonna love what comes next. I do love Hebe/Misaki taking on the real wing woman role right now. Mizue, you fucking tell him, Mizue. You fucking tell him. Why are you the one stuck in the chastity cage? Okay, yeah, fine. It brings stuff together. Why does that mean leaving Jamie in the driving seat? Why is if Mizue? I don't know. No, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
No.
Okay, pull it back. Pull it back.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
But yes, and here are the other two. And this is a scene of great importance because in many ways, you know, this is the capstone to where finally Crow will start her redemption arc in
full color, by the way. Like
yes, in full form and color. With everybody with their upgraded models as well. Anon has done another overhaul of their model. Sarah getting bigger boobs to represent her becoming even more in alignment with Crow and Kieran.
You can track how progressed a character is by how big their boobs are.
Or small, because I wouldn't be surprised if Crows have gotten a little smaller to go along with Sarah's being a little bigger.
I'm sure they adjust it. And, of course, whenever we cut to this next scene right here, you might notice a little bit of red behind our green.
Yes, sneaky Kieran. But it's interesting that she appears here, but is still slightly separated from the two big halves of Crow. For all of that she is true Crow, she is... You know, it's interesting how she's also still very much Misaki. It's a really interesting cross.
It's the dream team.
I mean, Anon has stated in the past that Kieran is an anomaly, even by the standards of Oot, because she is such a, confluence of events that came together to make her a person. And, you know, Sarah just being pure... Mizue low-key noting that Kieran can see through Sarah now, which shows how close they've become.
I don't remember why they say this.
They say what?
Is it alright to have Kieran here with us?
With Red Crow, because of the concerns of Red Crow taking her over.
I was like, why are we specifically mentioning Kieran when she said that?
But yeah, because of Kieran's baggage. Yeah. PB just providing a little bit of reassurance, and then Elenath popping up to be his Chad self.
He had to be the last one to enter just to RF arm.
Oh come on, we know that Elenath, CJ, all of the OGs, they can't help but make an entrance.
Yeah, everybody gets their cool introduction, and then he's last, and he's like, "It's gonna be okay."
Baby, I got. But yes, I had no intention to leave anyone in the dark. I needed Jamie's help to say what I want to say now, which basically means that he needed her to do what just happened so that he could push things forward.
Absolutely.
But it's also to kind of low-key underlines that Elenath is still Jacob. Jacob is Elenath. Like he still has that personal relationships with everyone here, even if he's channeling all of Elenath's memories at this moment.
That's right.
And yeah, he's decisive now in a way that CJ, despite all of his proactiveness in past chapters, he is now proactive with wisdom. He understands when things need to be said to avoid emotionally sensitive issues just because he's afraid, like CJ would be, or CJ was unable to tackle. But, depending on how you look at it, he's directly tackling something that we've talked about in the Discord many times. That shit needs to be resolved in order for us to move forward. So not waste time softening what needs to be said. So this is a big deal moment, and of course Sarah has complete trust in him, but she's here as Anya.
Well, of course, it's kind of easy whenever you get to hear.
I like the fact that Mizzou is the first one to pick this up. Like, she's consistently one of the first ones to always call out moments like this. She's like, you need to. Kieran's success
and Kieran, honestly, when giving a response that I relate to so much. Like, yeah, fine.
I think Kieran's saying this more because she knows that it's needed rather than actually feeling it. At least at this particular.
Oh no, 100%. It's easier to lightly forgive and then just forget and then move on. And that's totally the kind
rather
of vibe
than actually.
That's absolutely the vibe that Kieran gives me. She's like, fine, whatever. Let's just move on from this, right? Because it's easier to just forget about things.
Although it doesn't really address the problem, which is why
100%
forces. Which is why Elenath forces the issue, if you will.
I don't care. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. See, and Elenath's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not asking you to forgive her. Least of all, Kieran needs to say that is not and never will be my decision. I have a much simpler idea. And this is really nice. If we pause here for a second, I just want to say it's really nice to see a scene in a story that instead of just everyone having like that mea culpa forgiveness moment and everyone just, oh, everything's fine and forgiven, we can all move on. And it's like, no, you don't just forgive the kind of shit that you've all been through. That's not what this does. That's not resolving anything. That's just ignoring the problem and pretending it isn't a problem. So Elenath instead tackles it directly. You want forgiveness? This is what it looks like. Go for it. And Crow knows that she's about to get burned.
I mean, this was a long time coming, of course.
Yeah. I mean, and this coming from Elenath, from the man himself, is just, These 5 women, you've used my name to justify your crusade. And he calls it, he directly calls out what she's done and the wrong in it. And Jamie, of course, not quite yet on the cards with, oh look, there's Lindsay!
I love Mizzy's face, of course.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, there's... Poor Lindsay. But this really does also give you a bit of a glimpse in this chapter as to how low Lindsay's opinion of herself is. Which it feels like a departure from how she was in the previous chapters, but I think that was more because she was riding her anger.
I was about to say, that, and I thought she was hyped up on her own righteousness, being like, I'm going to save everybody. All these bad things that happened to me, I know why they happened because of her. And then, of course, Grandpa loves to feed that shit, where he's like, yes, you'll be the fucking hero.
And then then after everything she's witnessed by helping them through recent times has kind of knocked her back in confidence. Like, how could someone who feels the way she does, be in the constellation of a group of people like this? And Crow calls it try. Oof!
Yeah, we need this. We need the try.
Nailed.
We need the
You don't get to say, oh, I can't possibly beg forgiveness enough. Like, that's not the point. You try. Like, you're not. It doesn't matter whether you can succeed. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you can succeed at what you're trying to do. At forgiveness. That's not the point. It's not a transaction. Seeking redemption, seeking forgiveness, trying to right past wrongs is about doing good in the future. Not to earn it like currency, but to simply be better than you were. And Elenath absolutely nails that here. Sarah, watching over Kieran very closely, and Crow's forcing Crow to speak. She can't remember the goddess's face, that's what she's talking about there, and she barely remembers his. Honestly, this is a big insight, and I think into the goddesses as well, and why they've fallen so far. That all I knew was the purity in our lives, and I knew the world needed it again. Like, she was left only with emotions by the end, and those were blind. And yeah, she acknowledges it here. And she's saying, I still love you, saying that to Hebe because of her past connection there, so that's good.
Especially after the, well, not the fight that they had, but whenever she tried to help in her chapter, she was like, we're not helping her.
Yeah. A lot of raw emotion there. Which in turn, in that chapter, she was kind of very revealing that she felt betrayed by Hebe more than anyone else because of their closeness. She's like, I can't believe anyone would try to break the covenant in the way that you did. You of all people. So, I mean, but Crow very much here speaking to exactly, like, she's speaking the truth. But it's remarkable to see a character who was literally created from pain and hatred and fear and grief becoming a much fuller character by acknowledging it and trying to do better and willing to do better. Very big moment for Kira to hear, considering how much lesser she's felt than Crow in the past. And now she speaks to... This is a really interesting bit in here about Lindsay, as we'll get to in just a moment. Yeah, Crow did nothing to stop the awful things. You bear his maker's mark just as her other servants do. That's really interesting, because they put together with the next couple of sentences, that implies that Lindsay's origin, Maker's Mark origin, predates what happened with her meeting Hayato and becoming his minion in the RGB arc.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it would. I mean, not to make the window funny joke, but I mean that was always like she had powers all the way back in, you know, the early chapters.
In the beginning of the story, yeah.
And we never.
So the question becomes then,
I do wonder if we'll get,
and even
Grandpa's not gone, so I'm sure we'll get a little bit more info on that.
Well, Mizue, a little further from now, will kind of comment on the fact that, you know, of what I've just said. So we'll get into it a little bit then.
Oh yeah.
Just as her other servants do, which definitely opens the door for her to become maid number 4. I saw you as a pawn of his, and I made you mine. Hence, that's what she did to try and take him away, because, you know, Crow being Crow. You took the easy path to power as if you could force the world. I mean, this is very true, but he's also speaking to both Nile and Hayato with this statement, this little point. They both chose the easier path, which was to embrace nihilism, than to look beyond it. Yeah, and Jamie says you beyond it, and this is Mizue's anger over Kay bleeding through here. No, cowardly and irresponsible. Again, Elnath, he's not relenting. He's not letting Crow take the easy option of self-pity. Yeah, like for those of us who have those of you out there who have been like Crow never, she's never really owned up to it. That's what Elnath is making her do now. You still believe you can escape?
I don't know why we're having this scene. Crow never did anything wrong. It's fine.
I can hear the screams. I can hear the screams of 7 and his cohorts. Okay. Yes, moving forward before we give people epilepsy. Yeah, and Elnath speaking the truth. Like, killing yourself is just passing on suffering in this regard.
And then we get the big reveal of this.
The big, harsh moment. I hereby, he orders Crow to give them protection for the rest of their existence. Not just this life, but all future lives. Every lifetime you will live after this. So even when Crow dies and carries on, this oath will bind her to helping and protecting them. And that coming from Elnath means that it's probably going to be basically hard-coded into her.
Something that I thought about this whenever I played this. I mean, this is clearly very important, but the fact that this kind of thing can exist in Oot, the like vow that transcends lives and stuff, you know, really makes me think as to, I'm not saying it's this specific, but the fact that something like this can transcend time and, you know, move past really gives more insight to as what I think Cursed Girl's deal is. I'm not saying it's of the same nature, but like if Ellenath can be like, I'm telling you to do this or whatever like that, like experience humanity or whatever, like just as an example, right? I don't think that's what it is, but just an example. He can do that. He's telling Crow, you're going to protect him forever now, no matter what happens, right? All across time
until they pass into enlightenment. Yes, until I'm given what we know about Jamie, that basically means forever.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're all gonna. Isn't that the whole thing? Is that by the end, everybody gets to get to the finish line?
but Jamie will probably be the last one because she.
Oh yeah, she will be the last one. Yeah, that was literally said. No, you're right.
But here we get to see a really important moment. Crow takes it. She doesn't try and get away from it. And in fact, the only condition she puts on it is that they accept it, which I think is a big step for her. That's basically saying no to Ellenath unless they go along with it, which is huge for her. Even if indirectly. And Mizue this is her memories of love for Kay coming out, her grief and pain. Which is still there. It's still raw and it's still there.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad she said something here.
Yeah, it's important.
Like she would still be here with me. She would still be here. That's
right, Hayato. Because that's the part of her that's acting out there. It's the part of her that's Hayato. But Jamie. And it's really interesting that Jamie, the thinking part, the cognitive part, steps forward where the emotional part that is Mizuki takes a step back. This is Jamie really kind of leaning into what Ellenath has been trying to say, and even CJ trying to say, even before Ellenath came along in a more direct sense. That, you know, if we want a different... Because Jamie said this exactly the same sentiment in the past. She has said, look, we have to stop hating each other. We have to... If we want a different outcome than all of this pain just carrying on in a different shape, we have to be different. And that means forgiveness. And that's why she takes a step forward and puts her hand out exactly in the way Ellenath did to Crow earlier, when he accepted her. And see Misaki there in the background, and Sarah just so happy, happy. Lindsay, and then, even Missy realizes that it was just a moment. Especially considering Kay gave her up her own life by her own choice. By placing the blame on Crow, Missy is basically undermining Kay's sacrifice. By saying it was because of Crow. No, Kay chose to do what she did. And this is Kieran actually accepting forgiveness. Or at least the start of it. And then, here we go. And then there is no mistake, look at this. This is I think the actual bonding of that moment, to it being a spiritually binding thing. Crow just bound herself to Jamie and the others in the same way that she's already bound to Ellenath.
I'm surprised. I really, when I saw that render, when Anon was working on it, I thought it was going to be the Crow piece from Hebe.
No, which I think that's already been returned. Actually,
it's been a.
I think it was returned back when the.
Yeah, it should be.
I'm pretty sure it was returned when Hebe gave her keystone piece to Jamie and Mizzy as Tsukiko.
I thought we would have gotten more.
And here we get a little bit more of a little bit more relaxation time. We've dealt with some drama. Let's have a little bit of fun. And of course, Kieran wants to know if having sex with Ellenath is different from having sex with Jake.
Yeah, calling Jamie out specifically about that too, which is funny. But
Missouri, of course, knows. It's different with her.
Yeah.
And of course, they are showing off the rocking upgraded bods that they've got. What did we agree to? Only if she wants to. Only if Jamie wants to.
I think I should probably. don't know.
I know.
No, it's fine. I was just thinking, like, it's squished. It's fine. I don't
With,
know.
yeah, there's no
I'm
nipple,
not
which
gonna
is
lie.
usually the kill.
I'm not
There's
gonna
no
lie.
nipple, which is technically the break point.
Personally, I was enjoying this entire scene, but like every single time it showed, maybe it was Jamie and Mizzy, I kept being like, this is borderline.
Just go with it. We're not big enough yet that we need to worry, I think.
Yeah, it was Jamie's. I was like, this is borderline.
I mean, a bit of Jamie introspection here. Walking the walk, huh? Echoing what Eleanor says to Jacob back in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Walking the walk is harder than talking the talk.
I mean, and at least Jamie's still, thinking this through a little bit, giving her some credit here. Like, what am I supposed to do with Crow of all people? Like,
yeah, introspection has always been her strong suit and her weakness because she does not get lost in her own thoughts at times.
And then
she
Jamie
overthinks
talking
things.
about what we said earlier about Lindsay.
Yeah, what is she about Lindsay? Hiders make she. So I suspect that to be another symptom of the whole existing outside of time thing.
Man, and Vic, I don't even know where to start with her yet. Nobody.
I mean, that's true. Like, where do we start with Vic, given the mess that is? I mean, to be fair, Jamie here is speaking to some of the doubts I know that others and you have had about, like, where is this current arc's theme coming from? Would it be reflected in that?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. I have full faith that Anon's gonna, bridge the gap.
I don't think it's not in doubt. It's just very legitimate questions of how can you go about doing it when it feels like this is a very brand new thing. This is very natural doubts for Jamie as well. Someone who doubts herself because she's putting the onus of responsibility on herself when really it comes more down to, certainly in Leia's case, of what Leia was willing to share with her.
Yeah, Jamie, with everything that's been going on in the more recent chapters, she's been interacting a whole lot more with Ashley and Misaki and that whole Hebe side of the spectrum. I feel like this arc was really needed for, if we're doing it this way, I definitely feel like it was needed because, like, she has a better connection to Vic than she does to Teresa
we talked a bit. We talked a bit about this earlier.
She helped out during Leah's arc and stuff. I still feel like, definitely, I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
Yeah, no, but I think it's definitely. I've thought about it myself after our discussion earlier a little bit, and I think part of it is that simply the fact that with a cast this big, you can never realistically cover all the bases. So,
well, I mean, especially whenever we want to try and switch perspectives here. I mean, we're switching to Jamie
this arc is the shift from the CJ is the primary protagonist to Jamie being the primary protagonist. To be clear, CJ is still the protagonist. They're deuteragonists, they're equals. But this is where the limelight shifts to, the point of view for a lot of what's to come is going to shift to Jamie. Whereas previously it was very much from CJ's perspective. Even during the other girls' arcs, we still had a lot of it coming from CJ's perspective in pretty much everything except Leia's arc, I should say.
I mean, Leia's arc being all about Leia is very a Leia thing to do.
And although my favorite chapters are elsewhere now, obviously 58. And 50-51, but even now, as a whole, Leia's arc is still my favorite. It's just so well done.
Yeah, it's really unfair for Ashley's arc to be like lumped in because it was so much. That was all RGB arc with everybody.
Yeah, and Kieran's asterisk or Crow's arc melding into hers. I would say it did a disservice, but it did make it harder to like separate out what make it to who was the focus.
Yeah,
but I still enjoy it as a whole.
It was rotating focus. Yeah, I know what you mean though. It's a little harder to distinguish, but no, I agree.
She says, having drank a glass of French Dream in her tiny bikini, reflecting on what the goddesses got to in the past. And I mean, yeah, they almost certainly did. Perhaps not in this exact form, but certainly equivalent.
I mean, we have all but confirmed that the goddesses were basically human at one point. I mean,
yeah,
humans be doing what humans do.
Yeah, maybe I am.
It's okay, Jamie.
We're all hypocrites, Jamie. We all are.
Okay.
Our boy, so I tell you what, another aspect that actually is worth considering here is that having the perspective switch to Jamie could be good because it will let the polycule build more out as a polycule rather than as the traditional harem that might otherwise be seen as. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I mean, seeing Jamie develop relationships with the other girls that bring them at least to some kind of parity with her relationship with CJ is, I think, important going forward.
And then Misaki.
And this is an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah.
So that means that
maids.
Yeah. I do love how much more confidently playful Misaki's become. She was always fun and cute and an absolute cinnamon bun, but
well,
and Mizue.
I mean, to be fair, she is very hindered in the interaction she gets in most of the story.
Until recently, yeah.
Yeah, she's not around.
I have to admit, the more I see Jamie and Mizzy like bicker between each other, the more it feels
you're arguing with yourself.
You're literally arguing with.
Get a
it's really us underlying Jamie's whole thing of like, oh, I'm not into girls. And it's like, I don't think that's true, Jamie. I don't think that's true. It's just that you've been so focused on CJ for so long, you've not really given it any thought. And now that you are, you're still in denial. And yeah, he be just calling Jamie out. What? Me? No. And Kira's like, yeah.
Yeah, I just realized why we introduced Lindsay into the story, because she's clearly Jamie's opposite, because Jamie can't hide shit.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Sarah being her usual bimbo self today.
Now with more bimbo-sized breasts.
That's right.
Petite lovers out there are screaming in rage. It hasn't been a complaint I've seen a little bit.
Screaming at me later.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Let's give them all micro bikinis next time, Anon. That way I have to blur everything.
You really sure you want to like throw down that gauntlet? Because he'll do it.
I know.
He'll find a way to do it.
Have we seen? I don't know. I don't think I've seen a render that's been like that. I think Anon likes the
less is more is less,
or more is less, or what would it be for putting on
more
clothes?
Is more.
Yeah, like
that's what he did he did that whole sequence with Ashley, didn't he?
Yeah, with Ashley putting on the bikini over the latex like bodysuit. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
And Jamie, there you go. A little bit of that shy bashfulness is still there. A little bit of that shy bashfulness is still very much there in Jamie. For as confident as she's grown. The other bullet point as we speak. How does anyone find her? And he'd be kind of just casually outing how to find Lindsay.
I swear, I don't know how to describe this, but like, I really do appreciate how I don't dislike Lindsay's introduction this late in the story.
It feels like, very natural how she's kind of
it does, and she wasn't talked about at all for chapters forever. Like, she wasn't in for most of the game, and like her being here in the position she's in, I don't feel like it's shoehorned in. I don't have a problem with it. It makes sense too, and she's not like, it's very interesting how Anon was able to actually properly do that.
Yep, and there's our girl Lindsay in a bikini. And then there's
the agent of chaos jump scaring.
Hi, Lindsay.
Oh, no. What the fuck?
Why can everyone see me now? Yeah, she's so used to not being seen. And Ashley is, she ain't gonna be holding back now.
You've given her too much power. Now she
has too much. Especially if the work in progress for next chapter has anything to go by.
Oh, yeah. Tell me a week
Looking forward to
that. I'm doing awful.
I mean, Lindsay possibly has the lowest self-esteem of anyone in the cast now.
She also has the green in her eyes as well. Huh.
Yeah, because she is built.
Yeah, I know,
of
but I just didn't notice that she had it now too. I knew that Kieran and Masaki had it. I think someone else did, but I don't remember. It's been a little bit.
I like the fact that Ashley has gone from being horrified by it to being like, you know what, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
The killings and all.
I'll get you a spot on the crew.
And she's like, hey, wait a minute, I'm not doing any more dirty work for anyone. Fair enough, Lindsay is in her own way trying to stand up for someone.
I love how she's deflecting all that onto...
Which is true. I mean, she's probably technically telling the truth. I don't think she's got it in her to actually...
You're still an accomplice, Lindsay, but sure, we can ignore all that. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, by the standards of the crimes of some of the other individuals involved in this, it's pretty small potatoes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we made that crime list a while ago.
Yeah, we did, and Crow apparently can get forgiven or start on a redemption path. I think we can give Lindsay at least the same option.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, getting your head
of course, Ashley sees this as making Lindsay her sidekick.
Of course, the sidekick needs a sidekick. Why wouldn't she?
And this is a great question, Lindsay. Are you Ashley the immortal goddess, Ashley, or Ashley the stupid prepper slut, Ashley? I have no idea what you're referring to.
Oh my god! I see the Ashley from the Kaz interview has carried over into actual game. I have no idea what you're talking about, viewer.
Thing is, with Ashley, she could be absolutely just bullshitting with that. I'll be honest.
Oh, for sure.
I am dramatically more popular. Everybody loves
medium
me.
is premium. So true.
Real factual.
Yeah.
Even as people who forget Vic is our main girl, like, you know, well,
none
not
of
main girl, but, you know, favorite.
All the girls in this game are not realistic. It's fine.
Except possibly early Sarah.
I mean, I think I don't know. A lot of the early characters I is debatable. Sure.
Yeah. I can get you light and get you strong. Like, scary strong. Like, this is obviously linking to what we're seeing previews of. And Lindsay's like, is it that obvious? Oh, I don't want to come off as desperate. You literally turn invisible when he comes into the room. Yeah, it's a fair point, Lindsay. I don't think you can...
Oh, right, yeah. Sorry, I was thinking about the in-progress renders whenever she gets hit with the fucking Ashley beam.
Yes, Ashley beams, because apparently there's like 3 things aimed at her. And I'm surprised no one's commented on fucking little puppy dog Crow's moment here.
Oh, it's her Fox model from the LNF fight. Yeah, I thought that was really cool too.
I'm kind of surprised no one's commented on that, being how cute it is and just kind of squeeing over it. But yeah, I think it's adorable.
Well, surrounded by boobs this entire chapter, it's a little easy to get distracted.
Understandable enough, yeah. And here we see Jamie going to see Eleanor. Oh, and look, green eyes. Do you see the green eyes in the background?
You are
above the... Right above.
Right there?
Yeah.
Well, then no, that's his headband.
Yeah, but it looks like green eyes is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I was like, did I miss something? No, I know what you mean.
That's his headband, but it looks like green eyes because of the way the branch goes through it.
No, it's Diogen, and he's back, baby. The best character.
I would love that. I would love Diogen to have a fucking role like. But yes, this is Elnath giving a little treat to his lady love. And yeah, I have to admit, Jamie's new spirit look is pretty fucking amazing. I mean, if you're going to be goddesses, you might as well have goddess tier bodies, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, fair enough.
No, I don't fault them for it. A little playful moment from Jamie. Yeah, I want to show you something. I made it for you. I get a feeling this is going to be way more relevant going forward than we realize. A moon symbol object, spiritual object that embodies her power set is not going to be something that isn't going to be revisited in the future, I suspect. If it could be something like he has his Kurakara, does this mean this moon is going to be her artifact of choice? Also, I do love this track. Corellium's one of my favorite tracks in general, let alone in Oot.
Mm-hmm.
Do we even get to have privacy anymore? Of course we do, babe. And here we're booping into his terrain. Into his, place. Yes, this is they can only enter if they bring them. This isn't because I don't trust them, but the only one who needs to know this. This is where we get to a little bit of the fallout on Elena/CJ himself, where we learn about the consequences of what he did. Okay, this is where we're going to get a little bit of the theory talking as well. So hold on to your hats, boys and girls. It's about to go down the rabbit hole with Oot Cast once again.
Back into it.
Not a coincidence that's coloured for Keone right now, I suspect. But yes, okay. We've seen this before, but instead of the normal one at the centre, we have that is Tsukiko. And Tsukiko being Jamie. You're made of each in equal parts. We know this has been established now, that she's made from each of the four goddesses, which even Hayato even mentioned way back. He just didn't understand what he'd done when he did that, way back in 22. So this is a good line. We'll start with this line to dissect. While you exist because they did, they are only here because you could be. So this is saying that, to be clear about what this means, in my opinion, obviously I'm not God. I'm not God. It's that Jamie, by being an entity that can be in the embodiment of all four aspects, that means that all those four aspects they can exist individually, but because all four exist together, they can form a singular entity, which is why they see her as an abomination, because she represents a breaking of the paradigm that they have accepted as being the norm. They didn't think it was possible. Jamie is, as was stated in previous chapters, a miracle in that she represents all four of those powers conjoined into one. So we had a bit of a talk about this earlier, about whether this means that Jamie's going to rule over them four or whether they're going to be lesser than her. And I don't think that's the case quite so directly as people might fear. Which are totally understandable conclusion to come to, given the whole Queen of the Mara throne and all that sort of stuff. But let's move forward a little bit more and we'll get to my thoughts on it. Right, so we see them revolving around.
I just want to point out, because I talked about this with you a little bit ago.
Yes.
But it's much more noticeable here. But I'll rewind a little bit. So obviously, we've got Hebe with our blue. I'm not going to go into the full thing of what I talked about earlier, but I do think it's very interesting, because this isn't the arc for this conversation. We'll talk about it after this arc. But Hebe's got her blue with her green here, and then we go over to her opposite, which is Keone, who has her violet, but has distinctly red with it.
A red corona around her.
Yeah, very
almost a pinkish red as well.
Yeah. Just something to think about. Also, I was talking about this with Rayze earlier. I was going over older stuff, and I think that Anon doesn't do this stuff on accident. I think he does it intentionally, with why both of these colors are associated with Hebe. Why Keone's entire model is just white and red and no violet in it. I think it's very interesting. Something to think about for the future, but not really relevant to what we're talking about with Jamie right now. But it's also a lot easier to see.
Okay, here's another. Here we go again. Each goddess is connected in different symmetries. Okay, keep going. The left, right, inner, outer, concentration, and insight. So to break those down, just so we're all on the same page. Left and right, obviously referring to the left is passion, fire, emotion, destruction, being Carpo and Keone. And right is Oxo and Hebe being creativity. Concentration and insight. Basically, that's Carpo, and Hebe is concentration, thought, conscious logic, stuff like that. The non-instinctual part of ourselves, reason. And then Oxo and Keone are instinct, emotion. They're the insight. They're the instinctual things. But the interesting one here is inner and outer. What does that mean exactly? We haven't really heard much about the concept of inner and outer. I suspect that this may be key to how these goddesses are going to interact with Elanath and Tsukiko respectively. But we'll get to that in just.
I'm looking at the colors here. I was just looking at how this has a bit of blue in it, and I don't know. It's hard to tell if that has red in it because of how crimson it looks
Yes.
for Uxo's color. But
one goddess can never truly understand. Those symmetries, however, are not equal. It's an interesting thing to learn. One goddess can never truly understand all the others. You, however, can, because she embodies all four. She can understand all four.
Yeah.
Their purity of the purity of their own existences, in the sense of them being only like one color, is holding them back, basically.
Oh yeah.
We've already brought
he
on
mentions it here.
truth,
I didn't
she
remember
never
where
fell.
he mentioned it.
Yeah, he talks about that. Keone will require all our effort, but she is not a threat for now, which I think addresses the fact that she. If you really look at Keone's color as it goes around, there is a very similar color to me to the color of the Mara, which is why I'm in agreement with the theory that Techno has come up with, that she's the most Mara touched of them all.
Yeah, I mean, I'll touch on it. I'll,
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll get. I'm sure we'll get. I mean, it's nothing big. I'm sure we'll get more info after this whole entire arc for Vic's stuff, because focusing on Vic whenever it's not her arc is really a losing game. But I do think the whole concept of Keone being the black hole and being the void and things that it consumes all is
most particularly emptiness, which is a Buddhist concept as
unending.
Well.
And you're telling me that we've got parallels between, sides of the goddess that relates to like Sarah, and then we've got the other side which has Crow, and what was Crow's problem? Crow became corrupted because she consumed the Mara, and then you're telling me one of Crow's aspects is Keone, whose entire thing is about consuming and like just nothing escapes her.
Not even controllable. Not even controlled consummation either. She can't.
It just happens.
Consume.
Not to mention, we haven't even addressed the whole fact that we know that she has other OG shards. She's consumed so many, and I mean, who knows who else is inside of her? We saw that she was able to consume
her own shards.
Yeah, her own shards. And what was CJ's dad's name? Was it Jacob Roberts? Cameron. It was Cameron. We saw that, like, it's a whole thing with her, but being the Mara, I would expect that's why she's had it the worst. She's just full of
she may be corrupted in a similar way to what she may be corrupted and damaged in a similar way that the Mara were trying to do to Orkso. In Teresa's arc.
But yeah,
just as a possibility. This is all speculative, just to be clear. But I do love it. It's a great theory from Techno.
I don't think it's a coincidence that that Keone's color themes as well are the way that they are.
Yeah,
I think it's on purpose.
But yes, back on track. Elenoth now addressing the core of this particular arc. They are polar extremes in many different ways. Keone and Hibe are too. And then I loved it. There's like the eye shape there and the diagonal colors. Very cool. Also grows, creates, and loves in primal instinctual embrace. Yeah, I mean they are, because one is literally the act of creation, and the other one is literally the act of destruction. One is instinctive, one is through thought. Like they are the most opposites, in the same way that Hebe and Keone are the most opposites. Their friendship proves that all hope is not lost, for sure. Yes, this is obviously where Rio comes into things, as we'll see her at the end of this chapter. We saw glimpses of her in the previous. I believe.
Do you wonder if that's? I really wonder if that color's intentional. I thought about that when I played the chapter. Like we go from this,
like purplish,
right?
Well, that color's been associated with Kiko for a long time.
The actual color of the moon on the surface, I agree with. I'm sure it doesn't mean much, but like, yes, I agree. That purple color, yeah, it's been hers for a while. That blue is crazy. I've thought about this for a while. Never brought it up because it was never relevant. We never see dark blue hardly at all, ever. Maybe it's because it's too close to ultraviolet and stuff like that, but like,
maybe.
we don't see blue hardly at all in that shade. I just thought that was interesting. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, but Elenoth now dropping it on Jamie that Jamie is the key. Like going forward, Jamie will be what fixes this situation. You will have to understand their innermost beliefs and feelings. You will become more intimate with their lived experiences than any other being ever could. I would put an asterisk there and say, except for Elanath, it's just that Elanath understands them, but he can't help them because of how they already see him. He's essentially too close to it for them to, it wouldn't work. It needs to be someone outside the paradigm, which is who Jamie is in this situation. So he's entrusted the rest of the plan to Hebe, who will guide through it and do what that, which makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And this is where we get the revelation as to why Elanath/Jacob is not going to be able to just uber power himself up through going forward.
Yeah, it seems like there's some restrictions here, which is...
Well, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Like, we know that using Kurakara we know that using Kurakara taxed Elanath even when he was at the peak of his power. And CJ is nowhere, even this Elanath is
he's not even fully formed. We know, like, if I remember correctly, there's two other major shards.
Plus all the other shards there. Yeah. That have been, that are still out there, or have been consumed by Kione, or have been, destroyed and are waiting to reform and all that stuff. Yeah, so I mean, this kind of reveals that it is a miracle that Jacob managed to wield, and because bearing in mind, it took the power of all four goddesses, and Cameron, and Ashley going full heat back to her Hebe self in order for him to pull off wielding Kurakara, even for that short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So it is no wonder that he can't just pull it out again in the future anytime they need a quick solution.
Yeah, and he makes that a point. I mean, who else to wield the sword other than the reincarnating, king over here?
His soul is just not strong enough to keep doing it. Is what it boils down to. He's just like Jacob. When Elanath became Jacob, that was the whole point of that discussion with Elanath inside himself. And he's Jacob, which means his soul is at the level of Jacob's soul, which wasn't that advanced. To be honest, he's only been alive for like 20 odd years. Even with the assistance of the Purple Lotus, he's not going to be able to do that easily. I think that's one of the main things at the core of what he's saying as well. That Tsukiko had basically bypassed the normal limitations of the soul growing normally because of what Hayato did in her creation, especially within the events of Jamie's arc, up to 22, where he literally basically forced her soul to grow to support all of those souls. So in a sense, Jamie is probably capable of being stronger than CJ, because her soul is better prepared for it. Especially she has two parts to her soul, what with Mizzy and also with the four, and also she has her maids to help support her as well, in a very literal sense in Matoy's case.
Mm-hmm.
But it is, testament to Jamie that she's immediately here about she's immediately yeah, I will help you. Like, if you're sick, if you're hurt, I will, I can't lose you. Like, her feelings for Jacob on CJ have never really been in question, but it's nice to see her living up to them now. And yes, this is where we will cut, because it's sexy.
Look at that cut right there.
All right, and, well, obviously we can't show that scene because, YouTube. But there is a little bit to talk about here with that, to say the least, in some respects. Firstly, first scene with Mizzy and Jamie together bodes well for the future. In their human bodies, even more importantly. The lesser thing I will talk about first, which is we see that Jamie is now very likely pregnant after that, simply because even though he ejaculated into Mizzy, he apparently latently wanted her so much that it just impregnated her regardless, same soul, magic, question it too deeply. Which is going to tie into what we're going to see in a minute with Jamie and Teresa. But the big thing for me is that the big thing from that scene, and kind of in general in this chapter and a couple of the previous ones as well, is that I am personally okay with Jamie taking the central role as the protagonist going forward, with being the POV character going forward. I think it's a very gutsy move from Anon. Very few franchises survive a shift in POV character, especially long-running ones like this. But it makes total sense for the story, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense for the story or anything like that. It's just that people get attached to their protagonists. People invest in their protagonists. And moving away from them as the protagonist is a risk. Because, obviously, you're going to have people not feel quite so good about it. Because, just simple emotional attachment. I think a good way to help with that is something I've kind of had in my mind for a while now. Mizzy, I think, I really liked how in that scene she took much more of an active role in things. I like that she's been a bit more active in general in the last couple of chapters, just in general. I like that. I think that, though, that going forward, it would help tremendously if Mizzy kind of stepped up to the role that she's otherwise been described as having. Like, Mizzy has been stated to be the other half of Jamie, the other half of Tsukiko, a half of Tsukiko, not the backseat driver, not the lesser piece, but a full-blown half. When Ashley is like walking through the airplane towards the end of her arc, we see that she describes how they are two entities that are two halves of one being, and they each embody two different colors, which again splits the weight and the power and the responsibility evenly between the two. So my hope is that these scenes with her are going to result in Mizzy being also the secondary protagonist alongside, or also the new protagonist, or whatever, however you want to put it, alongside Jamie. Because it made sense up until now for Mizzy to take a backseat just to boost Jamie's confidence and act as her support. But now that I feel that Jamie's kind of like reached a certain level of equilibrium and is able to start building off that for her own major character arc and character progression, I feel that this is a great chance for Mizzy to step up and have some time in the limelight and share in that limelight with Jamie, as we kind of see her doing, where it goes back and forth in this chat, in this like thing, where we see Jamie reflecting on how Jamie's reflected multiple times on how Mizzy is her other half. She's her subconscious, her instinctual parts made manifest. And while that's kind of good, I also feel it kind of lowballs Mizzy's importance a little bit. I just hope, Anon, if you're listening and you hear this, I hope to see Mizzy being as much a part of the dynamic going forward as Jamie is.
I also agree. I would feel really good about.
Mizzy's always felt
if it was a duo, if it was the duo of both of them, I would feel really, really good about where we're going. I would be very excited. I think.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. I like Jamie as a character. I like all the characters, really. I like Jamie as a character. I like that she's the POV and all that stuff. But I think obviously it works in a lot of respects. But I just think that if we're gonna do Mizzy any justice as a character, and if she's ever gonna actually step out from being just Jamie's support,
I'll say it bluntly. I'll do it. I'll say it. Mizzy needs to be something else other than Jamie but horny. Okay?
Yeah, no, okay, that's a totally valid take. I can't help but agree a little bit that she needs to be more than just Jamie but like, look how cool Mizzy was when she went to talk to Sonya.
I was just thinking about that.
That was so good because Jamie would not be able to do that. Not in the same way. Not in that she would not be able to embody that kind of menace and determination and ruthlessness, but while also being so emotional and raw. It's just not the kind of person Jamie is, and I loved that we got that chance for Mizzy to get a little bit of that limelight. I'd love to see more of that going forward, or just seeing the two of them together bouncing off each other and reacting to the same things, and like as we see in this chapter several times, we see them reacting to the same experiences.
It's also really fun.
Yes, it's also really fun. So yeah, Anon, if you're listening, we don't mean it as a criticism. It's just we've just been honest with you. He does. He's evil. I'm the nice one. You like me.
Oh, I'm evil because I don't agree with everything.
What's this brown stuff on my nose coming from, man? I don't know what that is.
Having my own opinions in 2026? How fucking dare I?
Right. But don't worry, this is how I felt when during the whole Leia killing her mom stuff. It's just your turn now.
It's your
turn now. We're gonna have to go. Okay, yes. This is post the sexual scene. Jamie having a dream, which is all spirit journey, and visiting Leia first. And this is a really interesting thing. Boils down a lot of it, and then also, of course, Teresa pops out. If you go back just one, Leia asking, "Who am I, Jamie?" Because that's the core of Leia's problem and Carpo's problem, in bigger terms. Leia knows herself and hates who she is, and thinks that she's not worthy of being a part of things. She loathes herself and what she's capable of doing and being. And then if we go forward to Orxo / Teresa. Teresa, forward please. Aziz light.
Thought you were talking more. Sorry. Thought you were.
I said go forward. That's fine. Teresa doesn't ask who she is. Teresa asks, "Who are you, Jamie?" Like, Teresa's not interested, and also by extension isn't interested in self-introspection. She's interested in other people and why people do those sorts of things. She's so focused on others, she is blind to her own failings. That's kind of Orxo's biggest issue in this regard. Of course, Teresa representing that. And that's why Teresa, like Orxo, comes across. She's like this during when CJ is going through 58. Orxo's like, why what have I done that's so wrong? And like, well, you've done loads of awful things, Orxo. It's just that you don't think what you've done is wrong. The only time you acknowledge fault is when Elanath directly tells you that you did something wrong, and even then, you quickly adjust and are just like, oh well, I still did the right thing because we wouldn't be here if I hadn't done what I did.
Oh man, I wonder if we're gonna get a Crow conversation with all the rest of the goddesses. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna be like,
maybe
you have done wrong.
And it'll be from Jamie. Like, it'll have to be from Jamie, because if Elanath does it, their past baggage and relationship, it won't work. Like I said earlier, it won't have the same impact. But yes, Teresa representing, I think, Orxo's problem, where she thinks she has answers when she doesn't. Whereas Leia has the answers, or believes that she does. Has the answers, but she needs to be able to forgive herself before she can move forward. Am I a sin eater for all others? That's such a powerful thing when you think about what Carpo represents, being the destructive force and the ending of things. Do I not deserve happiness? Who am I? Like, yeah, Leia needs someone to pull her out of it, and again, it can't be Elanath. And CJ's going to be part of it for sure. Jacob's going to be part of it. But again, the baggage of the past is definitely in the way, and Jamie doesn't have that baggage in the same way. So she's going to be a way to reach them, hopefully. It is nice to see Leia again.
Oh yeah.
But yes, here we get the two of them talking about their connections to Jamie. How part of her powers used to make her. Interesting that the one encouraging her to be hornier is Orxo, but then it makes sense when you consider that she is the instinctual sexual drive, just from the perspective of desiring to have children.
I think, doesn't she say it? I can't remember if she says it here or not. I think it's at the end of the lap scene.
Who are you, Jamie? Who am I, Jamie? Two different questions, but very important perspectives nonetheless. And the keys to understanding both of them. And here we get her talking with... And remember, don't forget, as long ago established, on the other side, you'll get pulled into things and you'll just react to them emotionally. Instincts, your emotional instinct goes out there. And Jamie talking about how she was, like, just accidentally impregnated, probably. But he's got a magical wheeler that'll stop contraceptives. And Jamie absolutely being right, like,
Yeah,
just
I
because
mean,
you can
especially like if we want to talk about this in the real world connotations, everybody's immortal in this world. Like, we're having kids now.
Yeah.
We just started. Like, it's way, you know what I mean? Like, we're just starting off on the immortal journey.
But but Teresa tapping her own gem and stroking her own gem, I might point out, on the necklace that she had. Having a good, and Jamie just kind of just talking through that moment now with Teresa. If we save the world, why are you worrying about a future that may never come when you have joy here and now?
I mean, way to think about it.
Mizzy's better at living in the moment, but she's a good planner too. We share a color. Yeah, see, that's Mizzy being part also Keone being her colors. Even if she expresses it differently than mine, because of that conjunction with Keone. I'm not sure how you enjoy reading. You're being very generous, referring to her smut reading habits.
I will not shame you for what you enjoy.
A very good attitude to have, something that a lot of people could do with adopting as a mentality. This kind of speaks to some of her, like, Jamie's own, like, insecurities. And if that was her mother's reaction to just reading some smut, no wonder she's got hang-ups.
Yeah, getting some Jamie parent backstory is actually a little interesting to me. I like things like that flesh this out.
Yeah,
like it's interesting because I wouldn't have thought her mom would have been like that.
I mean, even though most progressive parents can struggle with the idea of their
well, I mean, there's
sexual creatures. So.
Yeah, but there's okay for the concept of parenting. It makes sense why most parents are like, well, probably not doing that right now.
Right.
Within, as long as you don't freak out about it.
And then Teresa was also actually speaking some real truth there. She's, there's nothing wrong with being fascinated by sex. It's kind of a big deal in the human existence.
Yeah, it's very important. Kind of how everything keeps going.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all true. Teresa speaking the true here. Not really much to say about it. What we have is rare, but not moral. Although I feel it's going to become a lot more common in a world where everybody lives forever.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
Okay, now go back one. That line is a bit revealing. The love we feel for each other is truer, purer than less luminous beings. This kind of speaks a little bit to one of my issues with what I think is the issues that Orxo has. Orxo elevates herself because of the religious aspect with her mentality. She sees her role as a goddess very hierarchically, I suppose would be the way to put it.
Interesting.
I mean, and also think about what she said.
I really like that because
Well, think about what she says in 44 when CJ calls her out on all the people that have died. Like, she's destroyed entire worlds, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, the way she tries to justify it though is that, oh well. They if they knew who you were and how you're the source of all love and happiness and joy and
it's
creation.
Just her, yeah,
they would be happy to give themselves.
So no, it's so funny that she's talking about this now because I'm sure this was absolutely intentional. But Carpo thinks herself above everybody else. She's literally the empress on her golden throne. Like there's nobody.
But she takes the responsibility. But she has the responsibility that goes with it.
And then the opposite way to look at it is like we have a higher calling. We are these great beings.
But the irony here is like how that's reflected. But the irony here is how that's reflected. Carpo owns what she is and takes responsibility for her actions.
She actually literally says that.
Yeah, she takes responsibility for her actions. I mean, that in itself is a flaw because like she's so arrogantly that she can think that she's right when she's obviously not. But she at least says that it's her actions that she's doing and it's her choices and all that stuff. Also abdicates that responsibility to her care for other people. It's okay, like she multiple times, like in the last chapter in 58, in the one before, she talks about how everything she does is for other people, and that somehow that means that what she does is always right. Like, that's the connotation, even if that isn't directly what she thinks she's saying. But that's the connotation that, like, oh, as long as you make the people you care about happy, then everything's okay. And that's a very toxic kind of positivity. Because that kind of permissiveness
because
opens the door to some really messed up stuff.
happy is also very, wishy-washy.
Yeah,
Your goal doesn't.
You can be happy. You can be happy.
Doesn't need to be happy.
And what makes you happy can be really messed up.
Yeah,
like,
it needs to be real love for that type of thing in there.
So, but that's kind of, I think, we're kind of getting into what the goddesses are and what their problems are at this point. And I think we're kind of also talking about what the divide between Capo and Orxo is that they really are opposites. It's just we've never really had the chance to see them next to each other to really understand that. But that's what this chapter is trying to illustrate. That's what it's really trying to illustrate how these differences work.
I love this. Teresa, just having a regular, in-depth conversation. And then
throws a
I believe the
feelings
you have are beautiful. It's only that golden destroyer making you think otherwise.
Yeah,
My
but
blood will help you, Jamie.
Yeah.
What?
And then Jamie snaps out of the...
what? What the? Where am I?
You came into my domain. I accepted you gladly. See, this is the thing. I will help you. This confirms that Jamie's pregnant.
I do want to know, seriously. Yeah, I was gonna ask. I didn't mention this at all before we started recording, but if this is true, it happens. I don't really care, but I am blown away that Jamie would be pregnant before Teresa. Seriously.
She was probably taking. I don't know. I don't know if she was taking contraception. I don't know if she was or not, or if they were using condoms or anything. Teresa, I don't think she was. But then again, we also have to understand.
There might have been a scene that made me think that Teresa could have been pregnant because she had.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that. Yeah, a lot of people have said that.
I didn't think, because it didn't get addressed afterwards. Seriously, just saying this out there, total shocker that Jamie would be the first one to get pregnant.
Although I do have to call out, that pregnancy in the context of entities like these guys may not be biological.
I was wondering about that as well. I was seriously...
you just need to go back to 43 for that and understand what happened there. Well, he fucked her in the real world as well as and that was months ago. So if she was pregnant, it would be showing by now.
Well, they haven't seen... Well, because that happened... Oh, right. Yeah, that did happen. I don't know what the timeline for that was, because then I feel like things happened and then she kind of vanished.
Several weeks passed after Teresa's arc before the start of Kieran's. Several weeks.
Yeah.
And then we have another week or two there in Kieran's arc going into Ashley's.
That's enough time.
Especially with technology at the level they've got. Yeah, you would be able to tell if you were pregnant. Especially as Sarah would know.
Maybe
the Fae would know. They would sense the soul inside her. Like that, with the senses of the Fae in play.
Maybe Teresa's being literal here. maybe Teresa will legitimately become pregnant because of this, and Jamie won't be.
Yeah, I'm not sure what role that means Jamie will have taken. Mom, dad, super mom, original mom. I don't know. But suffice to say, I suspect that was a spiritual thing in the past, and this could be that as well, like creating Fae or something like that was done in the past. But even if not, even if this does result in Teresa getting pregnant, she's going to be happy with it because Teresa wants to get pregnant anyway.
You want to birth some more gods into existence? Sure, let's just do that willy-nilly. Why not?
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, seriously.
And here we go, jumping now with into Leia's space. Now this is an interesting one because this is where we see that as much as Leia is Capo is also Leia very intently in this sequence.
We saw that a lot in the beginning of Kieran's arc as well.
Because what Leia does here to open up to Jamie is interesting. Very different context as well. Jamie almost has to push Leia to be open up.
Unlike
whereas
Teresa's doing the opposite, yeah.
And Jamie's like, I'm here to save you. And Leia's reaction just, oh, are you?
Oh, you Leia fans.
I mean, she is my second favorite girl, possibly third behind Lizzie for a reason. I adore Leia. She's my third.
No. It's not. My shock is not in the Leia part. I just didn't think that she was your second favorite. I thought that was like Kieran.
Well, Mizzy and Vic are my joint favorites.
Oh, you're
Mizzy because I'm required to.
You're cheating.
By contract.
He's cheating, guys. Joint favorites.
Okay,
Bullshit.
fine. Call her. Fine then. Vic is number 1, Mizzy is number 2, and Leia's number 3. You happy
Fine.
now?
I thought you. Okay. I thought you were more of a Kieran fan. Oh, my bad.
Hey,
look. Listen. I will be the first one to say I also hold the opinion that Leah's arc's probably my favorite as well. It's so hard to separate, but like a contained arc that's solely about Leah was fucking incredible. It was so good. It's really hard not to be a Leah fan. I think my only thing I don't like about Leah, which is a completely understandable thing if you like her because of this, I understand it. It's just not my favorite thing because I think I've been around too many bitchy women. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean like a lot of the women that I've grown up with have been like really, and I just am like
difficult to be around.
Difficult to be around. I don't think Leah. I'm not a real big fan of bitchy Leah.
I think the key here though is that the idea is that Leia wouldn't be that way with you because with whoever with people because she's very in the circle, out the circle deal. Sure. Like if you're not in her circle, then yeah, she's a bitch to you. If you're in the circle, she will love and care and support
you. My good friend, who doesn't watch this, I'm gonna call him out, is a big fan of her. And whenever he told me that, I was like, "You just want a girl to boss you around," and he was like, "I'm not gonna say anything about that."
This is actually good because Leia doesn't shut it down. She's like, "I don't believe you. I believe that you do want to help." But you can't. But yeah, this is the problem with Leia. She doesn't think she can be or deserves to be saved. There's nothing to save. It's just what I am, and I'm a monster. Is the subtext there? But this also explains why Leia probably held back a lot with Jamie. I can kind of see why. I get the feeling she kind of saw herself as like a big sis because Jamie was quite naive crybaby in the beginning. Yeah, right. Like she was quite.
That's fair. Yeah.
And I can see that Leia wouldn't want to feel like she's adding to that. But it's really interesting to me what Leia chooses to share with you here.
Instant transmission, yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, she's still Carbo. She can't help but show off a little bit. But I love this progression of expressions. Really good from Anon, just showing her thinking about it, looking her up and down. And she touches her jewel.
See, now that's
such a bashful.
Yeah, that's endearing. That's great.
That's such a coy thing for Jing. But it's really interesting here that Leia presents it like normal Carpo would not be embarrassed about what Leia is about to confess to Jamie. She would just be like, "Yes, I find you attractive. Be happy that I do." But Leia is ashamed of her sexuality still on some level. Probably because of her upbringing and the way her mom treated her, and it being obviously still a conservative country. Like, they joke about it, but there's a reason that gay marriage ain't legalized in Japan even this time in the future. But Leia's big reveal that she thinks is going to send Jamie away screaming is that she finds her attractive and wants to bone her.
I wonder
and it's just like, oh, Leia. Like, no, I get why Leia thinks that that's going to work.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why Leia... Because Leia has
I don't feel like
criminalized and looked down on her own sexuality because of all the baggage that goes with it on her setting, her mom, how messy her relationship was in this respect with Vic, all that stuff, right? Like, she's never... Mm-hmm. She never was able to be herself, so she's villainized and repressed that part of herself. So that's why she thinks that confessing that she found Jamie attractive is somehow going to make her run away. And it's like, yeah, no, Leia, that's not going to be what puts off Jamie. You're going to have to try harder than that.
Yeah, I was going to say, at this point in Jamie's progression, I don't feel like that's going to do it. Like, I don't feel like that's... Like, she's not...
Well, as we said earlier, Mizzy proves that Jamie is actually kind of okay with the girls, to say the least.
I don't, like... Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't disagree with that point because I don't want it to... Because I don't like it or anything like that. I just feel like it's a little bit different when it's with Mizzy, but, like...
But yeah, but that's the point. That's the point,
fine.
right? Mizzy is the instinctual side. She's what most people would have as a repressed part of themselves. Mizzy embodies because that's the part of her that she is.
I feel like it's really easy to forget that like Mizzy is actually just like the other half of Jamie, and like from the very beginning, Mizzy was kissing up on the maids and also Kieran, and like
yeah. I mean, people can be very multifaceted, even to an extreme. There's a reason that things
the
like DID
bisexual
exist.
have two individual parts of you.
Two individual parts, one for each gender.
Oh my
God.
In
a sense, you're not entirely wrong.
I knew there was two Foleys. No,
but this is about self-acceptance for Jay. Like a lot of what like Eleanor said to CJ, Jamie needs to do this journey on her own. She needs to figure this out on her own. You can't just give her the answers. Mm-hmm. And I think that applies even to stuff like her own sexuality and her own sexual interests. Like, we've had glimpses of Jamie being sexually much more confident. There's moments where she forgets to be terrified of her own sexuality and just goes with it. And it's pretty clear that she's okay with the ladies. Not as much as she's okay with Jacob, but she's pretty okay with the ladies. Like the scene with Kieran and Misaki way back in Kieran's arc.
Don't worry, but I'm telling you, man, by the end of the final scene, the final chapter will be everybody.
It's just a big orgy. It's just a big.
I'm telling
orgy.
you, I'm not even joking. It's all gonna be everybody combines into Jamie, and then Jamie and Elenath just fuck across the stars until the end. It's gonna happen. Oops, all Jamie.
Oops, it was Jamie, all along.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think so, but
no,
I understand why you'd have the thought.
I'm just shitposting.
I don't think she's still dreaming. But I don't know if she's dreaming or having a vision. I think it's more likely a vision.
Isn't it funny though that I'm joking, but I could be right.
I mean, who knows with Anon? He's crazy enough to try it. But yes, here we meet Rio, who's going to be an important character, I think, for this arc. I don't think she's going to be a new love interest before anyone jumps on that train.
Wait, were people thinking that?
Yes.
Really? I feel like he wouldn't. This would be what I would be expecting for normal avians to introduce new girls, and not the way he did with like Lindsay or something. You know what I mean? Like this is how Anon be introducing.
I'm pretty sure people are just joking. Mostly just joking. So don't worry.
I do like her style though.
I do like her style. It's a very like Baroque Japanese look if you actually look at the work in progress there. But yes, the most interesting thing about Rio, in all honesty, is that she is a bicameral creature. She is Orxo and Carpo's essences in one. She channels both of their powers, which is really interesting. We've not seen someone channeling diagonally opposite powers before.
Or really,
I don't think
proper. Okay. It doesn't. The maids and everybody else in the group don't count because of their circumstances. We don't see anybody that has two colors like this. That has two aspects like this. We don't.
Who isn't an OG shard in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah, because it doesn't count for them. They have this different circumstance. It's different.
Yeah. But yeah, here we see her talking to Jamie, and it seems that her prayers are being bounced to Jamie, probably because Jamie is a personification of those two goddesses, at least in part, anyway. Another chosen, likely believing that she is, like some kind of connection to the goddesses, like she has. I do low-key wonder if she's from a world similar to Niles' world. Judging by the sounds of it, there only being one city left, and they're at their last gasp.
No, but I mean, she's using her Uxo and Carpo powers for what? Fighting off the Mara? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? We don't know. We just don't know at this point. Could be Mara. Could be.
It's a world that has both of the goddesses' influence in it. That it didn't get torn up. I mean, it's not destroyed, so therefore the goddesses didn't manifest.
Yeah, and that's she's wearing a kimono there,
and she's also wearing two rings.
Yes, one Oxo and one Carpo ring.
That's really interesting because even
I
if
was
you
too
have
weak to
those
stop
aspects,
the
that doesn't
calamity.
mean that you have to have a ring.
Yeah, but the other interesting thing here is that if she has these rings, that means that she's a shard of the goddesses. But having both goddesses in a single shard,
oh my god,
this is very strange.
This is absolutely just Jamie's child.
Well, does this mean that she has OG shard, or does she have 2 OG shards? Like, we know that Alan had 2 rings. Alan had 2 rings, but he only had, and he had 2 girls, but there was only 1 of him. So is there 1 of her and 2 OG shards in that world, or is there 2 of her and the other? Like, it's just, she's a real oddity, and we just don't know. Like, there's so much we don't know yet. Obviously, very early days, but I'm going to be really looking forward to finding out what the heck allowed her to come into existence in the first place, because it goes against most of what we know so far as being possible with goddess shards. I suppose from a purely biological sense, I mean, what happened? I suppose it's theoretically possible that, because we know they come from family lines, maybe the Carpo and Orxo family lines crossed over and created her? Maybe?
Yeah. No, it's definitely possible. We know that's how it works with the passing of the shard of whatever you want to call the goddess essence. We know that that's how it works. So, I mean,
could be
if this wasn't, I mean, just, you know, Uxo likes to plan shit all the time. If this wasn't an Uxo plan,
I mean, I suppose it could also simply be a numbers thing, like in the sense of how, if there's an infinite number of worlds out there.
Clearly there's only 1 city left, the last city.
Yeah, the last city. Let's not talk about that. Should we be saved? I mean, it's not a coincidence that she's asking the same sorts of questions that Leia and Orxo are asking.
The stuff that Elanath's been talking about for the last couple chapters.
Yeah,
as well.
My pals are failing. I can't hold them back. Everyone left will die. I mean, money is that it's the Mara doing this, so therefore she's been fighting off the Mara or something.
Unless we talked about this in the previous chapter of I don't know. It's probably the Mara. It's probably some adjacent Mara thing. It has to be. We haven't seen we know that other enemies exist out there to oppose the gods and goddesses, but we just haven't seen any evidence of anything other than the Mara. What else could be tearing at a world like that?
At least in our knowledge, to our knowledge and experience.
Her name's all changey. Yes.
Yeah, it does the same flowing thing to represent her by goddess nature. By goddess. Anyway, that ends the chapter as we are consumed in light.
If we're gonna get a representative. Clearly she's showing up because of the conflict between Carpo and Uxo, but
are we gonna get a Kione and Hebe later?
I wonder. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I think it's just a coincidence that it is her because of her unique circumstance of having both of them. So it's like she's a representative of both, and she's getting caught in, right? I don't know. I would be very shocked if the conflict that's happening for Rio's world is related to whatever the fuck's going on between them. It could be. I just don't think so. And then we could see a representative.
I mean, there's not much more we can say beyond pure speculation here, boys and girls. So I guess that's where we're rounding off for. It is. But this is more than the usual. This is more than the usual scaffold of circumstantial evidence that supports some theory. We are very much moving into the unknown, the blank unknown nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you for joining us for the Oot Cast. It has been me, Rayze.
We'll get some retrospectives out. I promise.
Eventually. No pressure.
We'll get them out. You know, I've been saying that for the past couple weeks. We haven't had a single one come out, so we'll try to make some effort on that. We'll get some of those earlier chapters out of here. We'll get on to Vic's arc and move on from there. But thank you.
You mean Best Girls arc? Yes.
Oh well, we like to stay unbiased on this channel as much as possible. But yeah, I would agree, Best Girl. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you later.